One, and this will be me and
Me,
your name. Your name.
Raz.
There we go. Man, I set you up and you just like dropped the ball. I was like, I was going. Okay, our review for WrestleMania 17. Uh,
Okay. I,
did you see
can
the
I start this?
pre-show? Cause I didn't.
There wasn't a pre-show. Or well, okay, there's a. Okay, back. Okay, so I'm going into a little bit of wrestling history.
Hmm.
Used to be what was called the pre-show now. Used to be its own separate show called
Uh,
Sunday Night Heat,
I remember that.
and it was on for an hour before the paper. Like it was every week though. It was an hourly weekly show, and it was every Sunday night.
Hmm.
But it always felt a little more special, like right before a pay per view,
Right, because
because
it
they
was
had like the pay per view arena. It was like,
what drew you into the pay-per-view.
yeah, exactly, because they would go over that night's matches, like what would happen. It would, like in one instance, and this was like 1998.
Hmm.
They had Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was the champion. And Vince was trying to set up a cage match between him and Mark Henry. Well, there was a cameraman, quote unquote, and it was Austin, and so he had Vince in the cage, and he just started beating the shit out of it. So like it was actually on pay-per-view nights used to help push storylines as well.
That's true, because I think there was a, I don't know what pay per view, because I'm trying to remember from my childhood, but I think there was a first blood match for Stone Cold versus The Undertaker. And during
That
Sunday Night
was
Heat, Undertaker attacked Stone Cold and already caused him, made him bleed.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because actually I saw it on the Undertaker DVD, the Tombstone History of the Undertaker. I saw
Hmm.
it on that DVD. Fully loaded 1999. I know it
Mm.
was 1999 for sure. That might have been fully loaded. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Good memory. All right, let's see how well
Uh,
your memory holds up, though, with the first match. Do you remember who the first match was?
oh, before we go into that, I do want to say one thing
A
because
word
this
from our
is one of
sponsor,
no,
Raid Shadow Legend.
no.
Oh.
This is one of the things I love about pay-per-views for
Hmm.
WWE are the opening hype packages. Like
Yes,
holy,
actually, that's
this
you're
one was
right. I
really
do.
good.
Because it's the theme is Limp Bizkit.
Well, not just that, but it's like it showed like people of different cultures and backgrounds enjoying WrestleMania throughout history. Like you see the
Ah,
iconic
yes.
moments, like Hogan slamming Andre, Shawn Michaels coming down from the rafters. Like you see a lot of iconic moments, and not just that, but it's narrated by Freddie Blassie, one of the greatest heel managers. And he
I
just has that voice where it's like, yes,
I will agree
narrate.
with you because I we should also bring up before we even talk about the first match. You are right that it was Paul Heyman and Jim Ross doing commentary.
Yeah, and that was actually, I believe, one of because just a month before this, it was still Jerry the King Lawler and JR.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either right before this or this was the first night where Paul Heyman was a commentator for
Hmm.
the company.
I think it was only for a year he did commentary, right?
Hmm?
Was it only a year?
Yeah, he only did actually a few months because right after the invasion storyline, he was kayfabe fired
Ah, that's right. That's when they went with
because
this terrible storyline.
I loved the way he was fired because the thing is you
Oh,
just
thank God.
hear because the thing is he gets fired
Mm-hmm.
and then Vince is like bring out his replacement Jerry the King Lawler and you just hear the fans erupt and the most memorable part is you hear yes there is a God.
I bet you that
See
was Jim
Jerry come
Ross.
out laughing at Heyman. Yeah, that was Jim Ross. It's like Jim Ross, you're my favorite commentator.
I will say
Okay.
they both did a did a great night of commentary this night,
Oh, yeah.
especially
Yeah,
when
that's
we get to that one point at the end, because that I think has become
oh
infamous.
Oh, that's like, oh yeah, that's iconic. I know what you're talking about. Okay, so first match, Chris Jericho versus William Regal. It's an Intercontinental Championship, and Chris Jericho is the champion.
Mm-hmm.
The story behind this match, I really had to wonder about this one.
Because Y2J is the baby face, and
Yeah,
William Regal is the heel. He is the
yeah.
commissioner of SmackDown.
No,
Oh no, I'm sorry,
WWE.
WWE. This is before they even do the
Yeah,
brand split.
brand split. Yeah, it's a year before they do that. And the thing is that on this, so all it was Jericho interrupted Regal on Regal's first night as commissioner, and so Regal kept punishing Jericho in unfair matches like handicap matches
Mm-hmm.
against the Dudley Boys, etc. Then Jericho peed in Regal's tea, which he drank, dressed up as Doink and attacked Regal.
Right, I
And
saw
it's
that
like
in the
that's
promo.
the entire story, and that's the story. That's
Also,
like the
Y2J peed in his cup, allegedly.
that's what I said. I said Jericho peed in Regal's tea,
Oh,
like
I
he peed
heard.
in the teapot.
You don't do that to the Queen Tea.
Yeah, honestly. So,
What do you thought of the
and
match overall?
well, I don't want to give a rating yet, but it's like
No, you
starts
want
off
to go
very
through it all? Because I
yeah,
took some
like
notes for it.
like I said, starts off very back and forth. They
Well,
have good.
it starts off
Mhm.
with Y2J in control of it, and
Yeah,
Rhythm takes control once Chris Jericho attempts to do the walls of Jericho, and Regal starts targeting the like left arm shoulder.
yeah, because supposedly that was hurt.
Mm-hmm. A
Oh,
very
hand. Oh
WWE
yeah.
Regal kind of match style.
Well, the thing is, it was just before WrestleMania that Jericho got locked into the Regal stretch, and so that arm that was locked in it was
Mm-hmm.
kayfabe injured, and so you had Regal doing what every good wrestler does and target the injured body part.
Correct.
Like that's something with Regal. He is very actually both of these guys are very good in the ring. Like they're
I
great in ring workers. Like their matches are always good. Like even if the story is meh, the matches almost always are good.
I will always say that Regal deserved a WWE shot. WWE
Oh yeah.
champion shot, I should say. Let me clarify that.
Yeah, which if you need to see a good promo of his, there was one. It was in the Triple H era of Raw.
Oh
Okay.
God, Evolution
And it
days.
was that, and it was after Eugene got attacked by Triple H, and you have Regal come out and just berating him,
Even
like,
then,
and he's fired up, and it's like, oh my god, I care about this guy. There's a, and the thing is, just that fury in the promo, it's like,
mhm.
there's a chance this guy could win. You
Well,
were thinking that.
again, you have him. He can be a snarky heel as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Cause I'm trying to remember his heel run. The King of the
he was,
Ring,
yeah, he was,
2008. God, I can't
yeah,
remember.
something like that. Like he was very much a heel for the most part. Like he came off as arrogant and stuff, which when you see like outside of the ring interviews, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh boy, that's a different change. It's like, oh, how could you be a heel?
But let's get back
Like,
into
holy,
it.
oh yeah, yeah. Like this match, there's one part I love. It's when they kept doing like the roll ups to each
Mm-hmm.
other, and it's just like, I know that we're not keen on roll ups in general for like match ending
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. But the thing is, when you do like an exchange of roll-ups on each other, it's like that looks really good, and
Well,
I'm a
another
sucker
thing
for
that
that spot.
that looked really good that you rarely see from Regal is when he hit that double underhook from the top of the turnbuckle. I mean, from the
Oh
top
yeah,
top. I was like, Regal's
yeah.
getting up there. I expected him to like get knocked out. No, they went for it. He was like, you gonna bump for me
Yeah.
today, boy.
Well, and the
WCW
thing is, like
days.
the double underhook suplex, he's
Hmm.
done that before,
But
but
from
to
the
do it
top
from the top
turnbuckle,
rope, yeah, I know. No, that's what I'm saying. From the top turnbuckle, that's really impressive out of him. Like
Mm-hmm.
You don't see him taking those risks like that. Like he's very
Mm-mm.
much a technician, as he
Ye-
displays throughout the
He's
match.
either, I want to say, techno slash strong style.
Oh yeah, like all of his strikes that he does, especially with his knees, it's like oh that had to hurt somewhat. Like they look like they all of his shots hurt. Like
And another thing, because I just thought of this after looking through my notes. The match ended not due to a submission, but due to a lion saw, because neither one of them could
yeah,
land their submission on each other, which is something
yeah,
similar we'll see later on tonight.
yeah, and honestly, the right guy won. Like Jericho won. Like and for the most part, like during this time, he once again had two finishers: the lion salt, which was almost always a 1, 2, 3 right after, and the Walls of Jericho. And
Yes.
at this time, I think Regal only had the Regal stretch.
Oh yeah, he didn't have the power of the punch yet.
Yeah, that came later. That came like 2002, I want to say. So
So,
overall,
mm-hmm.
I give this match 4 out of 5 stars. Like it
Really,
was a
that
really good
high?
match. Yeah, it was a really good opening match. And the thing was, it was a good opening match for wrestling.
I gave
Like,
it 3.25.
they didn't have a lot of spots on it, like a lot of high spots on it. They didn't do like the triple threat ladder match
No, we'll
yesterday,
get
where
to
it was like
those. We'll get to
no,
those.
yesterday.
Oh, you're talking about the Clash of Champions.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they didn't do it like Clash of Champions 2020 with that match, where it was just high spot, high spot, high spot to keep you entertained. This is just pure good wrestling.
Yes.
You had good heel taps on Regal's part, and you had Jericho being the typical injured babyface, which is always good to see.
Mm-hmm. Then, right after that, we have the APA promo.
Yep.
Now, before we get into the match, there's just one quick thing I wanted to know about JBL.
Huh.
Boy, it is so different to see him in his APA days versus
Oh,
heel
I know.
JBL.
I know. Well, the thing was, there was a time when he cut his hair and dyed it blonde, where he was still part of the APA. Like it
Was
was right
it?
before JBL. Yeah, it wasn't that long, but it was a thing.
Hmm.
And honestly, like I love the APA. Like even
Yes.
now, when they do like a reunion thing
Mm-hmm.
on Raw or SmackDown or whatever, I pop for it. I'm like, yes.
So now
Like,
we're going to have the APA with Taz
yep.
versus, I forgot about this group, the Right to Censor.
Don't forget about them.
How? Because I
Dude.
didn't like it. That's how. There's there's two big
Okay,
reasons why I didn't like it.
they're better
Godfather is the
than
good father, and Val
Good
Venus.
Father. Yeah, It's better than Retribution. Just gonna say that.
What are you talking about? Everybody loves
Also,
Retribution.
anyway, honestly, this match, it's like for the most part, it was an alright match. Like I wanted to put it now.
Dude,
To
dude,
me, it was
you're putting this
what
kindly. The
like it.
match ended. It took longer for the combined promo and entrance of all all of them than the match took.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it was pretty much a squash match for the
No,
baby faces, which are
I wouldn't say a
I would.
squash match because Taz got like no legs.
Yeah,
Taz was
but
useless.
that's what Taz's almost his entire WWE career was.
Taz showed up, got beat up. Well, let me rephrase it. Okay, so chaos starts off. They all start beating each other up. Taz gets in the ring. Val Venus starts hitting like his signature like rope where he runs to the rope, hits you with the knee, runs to the rope, hits him knee. Then there was a little weird spot that came in when the Good Father and Val Venus were doing something. They were beating up. Taz some more. Then he hits a hot tag to JBL, and then they win. Like literally, that's how my notes
Yeah,
go.
yeah, pretty much. So first off, let me just give it a rating.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 stars.
Still higher than me.
Because
2 stars.
the thing is, it was your standard six-man match. Like nothing great. This is
I want to
one
say
where,
standard for that era.
well, the thing is, I look at it this way. Right to
Mm-hmm.
censor, you knew they weren't going to be main event in the tag team. You knew that. And the APA, while they were tag team champs at times, they had kind of gotten overshadowed by this point by the other tag teams. And
Yes.
so the thing is, you don't expect much from this match. Like this is a match where if I saw it on paper, I would have been like, okay, still early in the show, but I'm gonna go to the bathroom during this one.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
couple of those during this night.
yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm gonna talk about later.
All
So
right.
yeah,
So we go from that
that
short match to this really
I love
interesting
this. I love this match.
hardcore title, and one of the reasons why I hate the 24/7 title.
No, I love this match to no end. So it's Raven. One sec, dogs barking.
So then on this hardcore match, you said you
Yep.
hated it.
No, this is my favorite. One of my favorite matches, even though it doesn't get as high of a rank as some others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what it is, it's a triple threat for the hardcore championship, which is kind of unusual to me, seeing that in a standard triple threat match. It's
Mm-hmm.
Raven, who's the champion,
Correct.
versus Big Show versus Kane, and honestly, this is my first incarnation of Kane that I've seen. So it's like this incarnation of Kane, like this version of Kane, is one of my all-time favorites. Like,
Now we should mention which
yeah, no,
version of Kane this is, because this is shirtless
this,
Kane, sleeveless Kane.
yeah, yeah. When he first started doing his sleeve, well, not first started, like he started doing it the previous year, the sleeveless look, and honestly,
Was this also the
like,
time that they ditched the whole "Meh, I talk with
no,
this
okay,
device"?
that was '99.
Mm,
That was '99 when they ditched that. It was when he
okay,
was
thank
teaming with
God.
that Spock.
For some reason, that's so memorable to me.
Like, well, the thing was, like, a lot of people remember the '97 Kane. I didn't really, I didn't grow up with that at all, so this is my favorite version. Anyway, so it starts out Big Show, or not Big Show. So Kane and Raven are in the ring. Big Show's
Yes,
not coming down.
just yet. Kane
Yeah,
just got
so
into the ring because
yeah, and
Raven
they
came out
start.
first.
Yeah, and Raven has everything, and I think he even had the kitchen sink with him. Can't remember that.
He
Like
hit
he
him
had
with
everything.
what was that? A yellow sign of some sort?
Yeah, like he had everything with him. And the thing is, with Kane, like they were beating the shit
Mm-hmm.
out of each other, and then they had then after a while of fighting, Big Show comes out, enters the fray,
And can
and
we talk about that spot? That's a rare spot to be in.
which one?
Because Kane lifts up Raven, throws him at Big Show. Big Show catches
Oh yeah,
Raven, holds him there, and then Kane goes yeet and throws himself at the Big Show. I'm like, this is for
yeah,
the hardcore title. I'm like, shit, okay. They're trying to make this belt feel important.
yeah. Well, and they kind of do that with having Kane in it.
Well, yeah, with Kane and Big Show, it was good. And then they eventually make their way to the back. And that's really when the hardcore begins.
Yeah. Well, there's one spot when they go in the back, like they break a hole in the wall. I think it's Kane that breaks the hole in the wall. And I kind of look at it and I'm thinking, was that planned or not?
Was that when they
'Cause-
both went through the wall? Because there's one spot where they went
yeah,
through a wall.
yeah, and that's like, huh.
I know
Well,
of one
okay then.
spot that definitely I'm pretty sure I remember hearing on a podcast with Raven that didn't go according to plan, but
Oh,
we'll get to that part.
yeah, if it's the part thing of it's amazing, and it's part of WrestleMania legend now.
So yeah, they're back there, they're fighting. At one point, Big Show tries to lock Kane out.
Yeah,
Now, I don't know if you caught it, but I caught it. Big Show did not put the lock in the right spot.
yeah, I got that. And also, you should know by now. They should know by now. You don't
Hmm.
try and lock Kane out of something or lock him in something.
I think that was like the whole point. They were like, no, but that messes up.
Because
I'm
it's like,
trying. So the golf cart, was that before or after Kane throws Raven through a glass wall? Good
I
glass
think that
window.
was after. I think that was after.
All right, so the golf cart. That's the part I was talking about. I'm pretty sure they were not supposed to crash.
Well, they were supposed to crash, but the issue is that they went a little too far in, and so
Mm-hmm.
they came close from cutting the power from the entire stadium.
Yeah, that's what I've also heard as well.
They came within millimeters of it. Like I think they were supposed to crash, but they weren't supposed to go that far over. So,
And I'm not
but
even far from the stadium too now from where I live. So, oh my God, I could imagine back then in 2001 cutting the power to this. This was the third match of the night, and
yeah,
all of a sudden you just lost power.
yeah. WrestleMania would have been over that night.
Who you think would have
And
gotten fired first?
Raven, Raven. Even though I don't think he was driving the golf cart.
He was. Big Show was trying to
Oh,
quote unquote stop him.
okay. So Kane is chasing them in the other golf cart though, which is the
Yes.
funniest shit to see. Like you see Raven and Big Show in one golf cart, and then you just see Kane behind them. And
Eventually.
also,
Hmm.
and here's what I want to mention because it kind of teases in AEW. Kane runs Raven over with the golf cart, or it's like anyone is
Yeah. It's funny because I was
anyone.
comparing it to the AEW spot. Like, when you look at what Sammy took, by the way, which was very dangerous, and I'm not ever going to take that spot, versus what Raven got, like a little clip. Like, oh my God, Sammy.
Well,
Sammy
okay.
Guerrero.
If I'm running behind you with the golf cart,
Hmm.
I don't. You're gonna be running like you're not gonna want to get hit by it. Like
Yeah, I'm running to the side of it. I'm not going to pause and
yeah,
take a face bump. Ooh, that's all
but
right. But Raven gets
like
run over slightly. They eventually get to the entrance ring. And this is where it actually gets pretty interesting. That was an
oh
interesting
yeah,
spot. So, Big Show is attempting to like press slam, I want to say, Raven off of
yeah,
the entrance stage.
shade.
But Kane says, nah, son, you're going to take a big boot from me. Said they
Yeah, and
both
he
go
boots
out.
both of them.
And then he
And
said,
then
you know, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say he does something he doesn't do a lot of times. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he goes up to the top. Like King goes up to the top rope and does the clothesline and stuff. But I haven't seen him do this move that much.
Yeah, he did a diving leg drop onto
Yeah.
Big Show.
Yeah, down, yeah, on both of them, and then pins Big Show, and of course, we know what's gonna be after two huge bumps like that. It's gonna be
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Honestly, I love this match.
It was a hardcore match of its ages. Definitely. Like of
Like
its times, I should say.
yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5.
3 for me.
Like, like it was really entertaining. No really boring or slow spots, and also the fact that it's now part of WrestleMania history
Mm-hmm.
because of the almost kind of power.
Mm-hmm.
Like like imagine how pissed Vince would have been.
Oh
Like
my
you don't
God.
have to worry about any other producer.
Maybe
You
that's
can
why
worry about
Raven
this.
never got a push in WWE
I,
was because of that.
yeah, yeah, probably.
All right, so now we have this next match.
Eddie
It's
Guerrero versus
Test.
yeah, which honestly Tess is the face, which is unusual.
Not
Like that's
only
not
that,
even
unusual. Maybe
Uh,
you could tell me something though about him. Doesn't
hmm,
Tess look like the kind of wrestler that Vince would want,
yeah. Well, I
like as
think it
his
was though.
champion?
So I had that big storyline with Stephanie. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it was around that time that Stephanie and Triple H started dating. And so they married her off, quote unquote, to Triple H. And the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
that I can't remember if Tess got injured or not, but that's around the time his push really stopped. It's like, oh,
Did he ever really? I'll be honest, but I don't know if he ever really had a push because I
well, they were
never,
pushing it a little bit.
I never met thought he was like a main eventer. I always thought he was like mid tier.
Well, at that time, he was getting more of a push and more recognition because of the storyline with Stephanie. Like,
Okay.
that was a really big storyline for people. Like, people love that. And it's like, I
God,
can see why.
we're going to talk about stuff later, but I hate her acting. Her acting has never changed.
I know. Yeah, we'll get into that when we talk about a promo, or, yeah, promo for a match later on. Because
Uh,
there's one main thing I want to talk about for that
I
one.
I think I skipped that promo because I was so like, you know what, skip.
Really?
Uh,
I
I
thought
will
this
skip
match was...
mentally. Skip mentally. I skipped it mentally.
Okay.
I meant to
So,
write it down, but I skipped it.
so
So
this
you
match
first.
really didn't have a lot of build up to it.
No, and this is when I want to say that, like this is when the radicals started to
Yeah.
come in, right?
Well, no, they came in 2000, like
Oh,
the early part of like early 2000. I want to say late 99, early 2000.
yeah, because I've heard stories that Vince McMahon loved Eddie Guerrero, so this
Yeah,
must have been when he was like still like WCW smell was still on him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like because you had Eddie Guerrero come out with Perry Saturn, which honestly, only two of the Radicals really got a push in WWE. But bear in
Yeah,
mind, Chris Benoit's not part of the Radicals anymore. That's another
yeah.
story.
Eddie
Like,
and Chris were the only ones
and,
because Dean, God, I don't even
yeah,
remember him, what he did in WWE. Well, no, I think he took a loss to a woman, right?
yeah, Lita,
Okay. Yeah, like he was supposed to be a quote unquote ladies' man but failed.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember Perry Saturn, his gimmick was Mr. Moppy or Mrs. Moppy.
yeah. Later on in 2001, I believe it was.
And
It
then I
was a dark
think it wasn't a storyline, and this shows you its age, that Perry Saturn was in love with the mop because he had one too many concussions to the head.
yeah, yeah. And so he fell in love with the mop over Terry. And so Terry and Sean Stasiak fed the mop to a wood chipper.
My,
And
what's
and
ironic because that sounds like the similar storyline to Al Snow.
okay, it's a little different. Okay, anyway, let's get
Yeah,
back
let's
to
get
it.
back to the match. Cause honestly, our
And
talk about the Radicals was longer than the match.
yeah, so this was a European Championship match with Test being champion, and Test comes out by himself. So obviously, advantage is going to be to Eddie. And honestly, for an Eddie Guerrero match, it wasn't as good as some of his others.
The only really worthy notes, because I'm looking at my things, was at kind of like that start where Tess started the match off, but then his foot got caught between the ropes, which led to the referee and Eddie Guerrero untangling him, and then the Radicals beat up Tess to win, while the ref was
Yeah,
distracted.
yeah. What it was is like the Radicals intervene, like including Dean Malenko, and then Eddie hits him with the championship from behind. Now I did okay. I will be biased in this match. Like I did rank
Mhm.
it a little higher because it is an Eddie Guerrero match.
Mhm.
Like I gave it 3 stars out of 5.
Oh, it's
Any
slightly
other
higher than
rest,
me. I got 2.5.
any other wrestling or wrestler besides Eddie
Mhm.
would have been a 2-star match. Like it was all right.
I think the idea was to protect Test by showing that all these people interfered, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, but still, it's like, it was an alright match. Like, Eddie can do so much better. Tess can do better. So it's like, it wasn't
Correct.
either man's greatest showing, but
Now
so much of it
we get to a
all
much better
yeah.
match, a much better match. Now it's Kurt
Okay.
Angle versus
Yeah.
Chris, and I love the story
Yeah.
between the two of them.
Oh, so do I. Pretty much it's each one wants like each one in non-title or non-match situations
Hmm.
have made each other tap out to their submission.
Except
So
Kurt
the
Angle
first,
is claiming that he still has never tapped out.
yeah, and so the whole thing is for this match, at least the way it starts off,
Hmm.
is they want to make the other one tap out. Like they are
Well,
obsessed.
what starts off with a lot of mat wrestling.
Yeah, well, what I mean is like they go into the match like very technical.
Yes.
Like they want to get each other in the crippler crossface or the ankle lock to make the other tap out. Like they're going for it.
But what's
Like
interesting
you,
with the story is that it starts off with mat wrestling, like you're saying, where they're trying to do like all these like show dominance. But Kurt Angle's the first one to throw a punch out of
yeah, and
frustration.
not just that, but he also goes for a pin eventually. Like he's the first
Mm.
one to go for a pin.
Yeah, because he starts like they basically start off before the match with Kurt Angle on a mic doing some heel promo, going with some mat wrestling. Eventually, Kurt Angle's like, "Fuck this," punches him. Works over
Yeah,
Chris for a while until Chris starts hitting his comeback, and it's during that time that they're exchanging finishers on each other, or submission finishers, I should say.
yeah, and then eventually Paul says, "Okay, screw just yeah." Well, one thing is, there's one spot I wrote that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chris Benoit counters the ankle lock and with an ankle lock. Okay,
Right.
then he transitions into the crippler crossface. Angle rolls over into a crossface of his own, and it's like,
Correct.
oh, like seeing them go so seamlessly through their submissions. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that shows how good technical wrestlers each guy is. Like, oh,
Also, it also shows how calculated each person is. Because, like,
yeah,
eventually, Chris Benoit does get Angle into his crippler crossface and does get Angle to tap out. But.
but the ref is knocked out. The ref is knocked
Correct.
out.
Correct.
That's what I was
So,
about to say.
so he doesn't see it, and then Kurt Angle, being the smart guy that he is, used the most devastating move of all of sport entertainment. The
Yeah.
devastating roll up with the tights. I told you that move wins.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so here's what it was. So, anyway, so while the ref is out, Benoit has his back turned. Then he
Mm-hmm.
gets hit with the angle slam. Then angle pins for a 2 count, like really
Correct.
close to. Then there's a waist
2.9.
lock, and then a low blow to Benoit, and then that's when Angle hits the roll up. So it wasn't just out of nowhere a roll up. It was a low blow, and then he also had the tights for the 1, 2, 3. Honestly, like I okay. First off, I'm gonna give this its rating and then go
Mm-hmm.
into it. Okay. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Like,
Really?
if you want a technical match to go to
Mm-hmm.
that shows like how good technicians can be,
Mm-hmm.
go back and watch this one. Like, they do everything so seamlessly. Like,
I
there's not a
can.
lot.
I
Okay,
would do you one better, and that is their ultimate submission match. That one I
that's
would.
why. Wasn't that after this though?
Yes. But
That's what I was
that's
gonna
why I
say.
give this match only 4.5 because their ultimate submission match is just so much better.
The reason I gave it 5 out of 5 though, also, is that
Mm-hmm.
the ending made sense
Mm-hmm.
and it leaves the feud open. That's the
Yes.
thing. This is a feud that, especially with this one, with this being the first match, you want another one. You want another
Well,
match between.
Chris Benoit gets his heat back later on.
Like honestly, this match is one of my favorites of the night.
And then we're going to get to one of the worst matches of the night.
Okay.
You want to skip and just go to the street fight?
No, no. This is China versus Ivory, who's the women's champion for the women's championship. The
You
whole
mean that
story is that
bathroom break?
Ivory broke. Yeah, this is a bathroom break. Yeah, this is a
Yes.
bathroom break match. So
Yes, it
Ivory broke
was.
China's neck. That's the story. And then it's a
Well,
squash.
did Ivory, because wasn't it one of the
Yeah.
right to censor people did the power driver and she just quote unquote assisted?
No. They put the blame on Ivory and everything, like,
Oh,
and
God.
Ivory took credit for all of it. So it's like, this
Did,
match was a squash match. Like, it was,
this was your
like, 'cause
typical women's
women.
wrestling during the Attitude Period, where it was short,
Well,
brief,
the thing is,
and you had enough time to either get another beer or go to the bathroom.
yeah, because the thing is, you knew who was going to win.
This was the match. This one sentence I'm going to say. Ivory hits China. China performs China bomb. China says, "Nah, I'm going to hit you with gorilla press." Then wins.
I know. Finishing someone with a gorilla press, it's like, really? So I
I,
gave it 2 stars out of 5.
I wow, that's a lot higher than I gave it. I gave it a half a star. Um, if you reversed it, it probably would have been better. Where she did the gorilla press, then picks her up to do the China bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Your
Oh,
finisher, ma'am. All right. So, by the way, we gotta talk about this earlier as well because I forgot about this whole thing with Trish Radish.
Oh, you forgot about that?
I haven't
Oh,
read.
I wish I
I
wish I forgot.
I forgot that at one point Trish Radish was like Vince McMahon's mistress. Like that was a
Yeah,
storyline.
I wish I forgot about it.
And then, because I had to do a little bit of backstory, it's like Trish Stratus with Vince. I don't remember that. This was before Trish Stratus became true Trish Stratus that we enjoyed.
Yeah, well, what's funny, so Stephanie is a heel, okay? But she hates
Yes.
Trish with a passion. Like, she hates Trish, like, no other. It's like, that's funny. Like, I get it. I get why, but it's still
Hmm.
funny.
This
Cause yeah,
was.
oh, go on.
It's just weird. Again, it's just because this is. Because earlier, this is talking about that fucking step promo. She asked Trish to cut up, to crush some ice with her hands
Yeah.
because she likes how it tastes.
Well, in other words, like, she prefers crushed ice.
I'm like, bitch, first of all, who crushes shit with her hands? Okay?
Yeah, like,
That's just nasty.
oh, this is pre-COVID, so
It's still nasty. Before COVID.
I was making a joke.
I hope you were. I hope so. Sir, I'll give you some crushed ice with my hands.
So this match actually had a pretty good story. It was pretty much Vince treating Linda like shit.
You forgot
He
one
was
thing
like having
before
a
you start that.
what,
Oh, well, go
what,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll add to it later.
having an affair with Trish in front of her. Like
Hmm.
essentially, Linda's medicated in coma, like in a coma essentially, which
Hmm.
really bad take, especially now.
Yes.
And so, who comes to her aid but her good son, Shane McMahon? And so, what they do,
Who owns WCW in storyline.
well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So at this time, WCW went out of business, and Vince bought it. But
Hmm.
to use it in storyline, they said that Shane signed the contract and paid for it.
Correct.
And so Shane actually utters the line, and just like in a promo before this, like when he bought WCW.
Do you
And
know
just
how
like in
much
the
Vince
past,
McMahon bought WCW for?
not much.
Do you? Because I've read this in Y2J's autobiography.
I can't remember.
$2 million.
Yeah.
And
And
the
so,
reason I remember that, and I know I'm sidetracking you, sorry, is the reason I bring that up. It's because at one point, Chris Jericho had over $4 million on reserve.
I know he could have bought it.
Yeah, he put that in his autobiography, which it's over there somewhere in my closet to get it out there. He stated like, if I'd known that, I would have bid for it. I was like, yo, how bad of a in shape was WCW? That both in
Uh,
that in storyline that Vince McMahon did not care about it, only purchased it for $2 million, and didn't care that his son at first bought it.
Listen, we might do a WCW like in 1999, 2000 pay-per-view. You'll find out. You'll find out.
No, why do I? Well, you get to decide this week's pay per view, so I'll let you choose that
Anyway,
poison.
so like Shane said, just like WCW did in the past, he's going to kick his father's ass at WrestleMania. And the caveat of all this
Mm-hmm.
is so shortly before this, Mick Foley was fired as commissioner, which is what brought William Regal in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is a
Linda.
street fight, and so Mick Foley is made the guest referee for it. So it's like, so every ball just about is against McMahon, or
Correct.
against Vince, I should
Well,
say.
Vince has his daddy's little girl on his side.
Yeah, for which we know in a street fight, it's a daddy's little girl that helps you.
Yeah, well,
That's right.
there comes that spot where she's useful. That one spot.
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, the story is pretty good
I'll
for
let you
what it
take
is.
over this match. Go ahead, explain it for us.
Like I said, the action was there's a shit ton of action. Like for the largest portion of the match, Shane
Mm-hmm.
is just on top of everything. Like he throws everything, like trash can lids, trash cans at Vince. Like he is all over Vince, and of course he uses his signature weapon, the kendo stick,
Was that his
on him.
signature weapon during that time?
Yeah.
I thought it was a
Oh yeah.
trash can because of his
No,
finisher.
no. That might have been in his finisher, but for the
Mm-hmm.
largest part of his career, he used a kendo stick. Like
Mm.
before Seth Rollins even touched it.
Oh, that's right, because he had like a thing versus Kane, and that's when he would use it.
Yeah. Yep. And so it's like it's very back, like it's not back and forth at all for the most part, but there
Well,
is a brief. For,
mm, because
no.
there's two moments that really changed that dynamic.
Yeah, there
Because,
were, but it didn't change it as much though.
there was one big one I would disagree with you. Is when it's
Let,
so let's say Shane basically has in control at the start of the match.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Steph gets involved because he's trying to do a finisher, slaps Shane. Vince powders. Shane hits a baseball slide, starts beating him up outside, and puts him on the Spanish announce table. I want to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The poor Spanish. Wait, was it Spanish or was it one of the others? I don't know. It's one of the other Spanish. It's one of the announcer, but
It's
to be
the
honest, the
it's
English
the Spanish.
commentary.
It's the Spanish announce table because what happens at the end of the show. The end of the show ruins Jim Ross and Paul Heyman's announce table.
Okay, so yeah,
Because he
yeah,
attempts to do his signature elbow,
yep. The
but
elbow.
Steph pulls Vince out the way, and that's when Vince takes over.
Yep, the leap of faith elbow drop. Which honestly, when it comes to wrestling elbow drops from the top rope, the leap
Hmm.
of faith, like the way it looks, is one of my all-time favorites. Like I know
Well,
there's a Macho Man elbow, but the leap of faith one, oh my god, that's just amazing to me.
because I'm trying to remember, because Shane does that so many
Mm-hmm.
times
Oh
throughout
yeah,
his
that's one of his signature
career.
moves,
I'm
and
trying to
he
remember.
does it. He did it at Backlash in 2001 against Big Show. He did it in
Was
Hell
that
in
the
a
one where
Cell
he
again.
climbed all the way up? Right? The
Yeah,
Titantron?
Titantron. Yeah, that was the Backlash one, which I have a funny story for that one for later.
Okay. Because we'll get to that pay per view, but oh my god, I remember that height.
Mm,
Uh, so basically, let's go back into this. So he crashed and burns, and this is why I hate wrestling sometimes. So Trish turns now on Vince, right? And gives him a
yep,
slap. And then there's a cat fight in the ring between Trish versus Steph.
that Mick Foley somehow gets in the middle of.
Correct.
Lucky, lucky bastard.
But before that, her comeuppance is just a slap.
Well, the thing was, she wasn't much of a wrestler at the time, so makes sense.
Yes, but this is why I didn't remember it or wanted to remember it. She got treated like a dog.
Yeah. WWE always pushing the rights for women.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, really, really, like I think she had a finisher at that point, which was her Stratus fit
No,
satisfaction,
no,
Stratus kick.
no. At that
No,
time, she really did.
oh well, she could have hit something. I'm just besides the slap. So then Vince hits Mick Foley with a chair, and of course, because Mick Foley's wearing a referee shirt, that gives him negative 100 defense, so that knocks him out.
Yeah, yeah. Even though it's Mick Foley.
Vince, Vince then brings his wife into the ring to like, see
Yeah,
what
to
you
watch
do?
and
I'm gonna beat up our son.
yeah, to show her what he's going to do to their son.
And
And while
then the
he,
gif happens.
yeah, it's when he has his back turned and is about to deliver one final blow to Shane with the trash can, because you have Shane on his knees, Vince holding up the trash can, and then you see, and this is one of the most iconic moments, and I actually wrote
Yep.
this one down, is because it's a feel good iconic moment for Linda. You
It
see
gets a
her
huge
get
pop.
up. Yeah, it like that's the thing. Throughout the show, there are huge pops all over the place.
Yes.
So like you see her stand up, and the crowd explodes. And you see, I believe it's Shane pointing behind Vince,
Yes. He points
and
at Vince to turn around. It's like behind you.
and so Vince turns around, still holding a garbage can, and what? Like, even for her, that's like Linda delivers a nice kick to the groin. Like even by Linda's standards, that kick, oh, you could feel it. You
Mm-hmm.
could feel it in the giblets. Like,
Then Mick
oh,
Foley revives himself. He's like, wait, what am I down for? I'm Mick Foley. I've done worse. So he gets up, he beats up Vince McMahon, and sets him up for Shane to do his coast to
yep,
coast and get the
yep,
3 count.
yep. Which coast to coast. Honestly, that's another wrestling move I always give my guys. I love the move. It's just so beautiful, like doing a drop kick to the corner from that far away into a
Mm-hmm.
trash can. Oh, just oh my god, I love those. I love
What would you
Vince's
get
or
this
Shane.
match?
I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Like
3.5 for me.
it was a really good street fight. Like you knew what was likely going to happen.
It was well. Let me see. It wasn't for me personally a good street fight because they're not real wrestlers, so they're not really selling a lot of things well. But story
Uh,
wise, for me, carried it a lot
like
because we get two street fights at the end of the main event.
actually, one of them's technically not a
Shh,
street fight, and
listen. One of them.
I'll go into that.
We'll
I'll
get
go
into
into
that.
that.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the biggest con for that match is it's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
should. Okay, so now, okay, and this is okay. So
This
going
is.
into
I'm
that,
going to just spoil something, just ahead, because this is now the TLC 2 day now, and I'm
yeah,
already just
and
giving you my stars. It's 5 out of 5. I
oh
love
yeah,
this.
same. Like honestly, like this. this is the era of WWE where they have a long ass show, and so you're going to be getting hard hitting match after hard, like 2 hard hitting matches in a row. And so it's like, oh, like I was a little like this one, this one and Shane and Vince is kind of was like, oh, I need to slow down. So anyway, so pretty much you've had Dudley Boys who are the
Mm-hmm.
champions going into this, Edge
Edge
and
and
Christian, and the
Christian.
Hardy Boys, and it's a
Yep.
triple threat tag team TLC match. Which the TLC match is an evolution of like triple threat ladder matches, triple threat table matches. Like, it's an evolution of that. And the thing
Yes.
is, because you have each team's signature weapons, you have the tables for the Dudley Boys, the chairs for Edge and Christian, and then the ladders for Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this match, oh, like I couldn't even really write notes because there was so much going on.
I,
Like,
it was spots after spots after spots after
yeah,
spots after spots.
and
Eh,
it's not even just the guys in the ring. It was people
mhm.
coming into the ring. So it's like,
Yes.
oh,
Even them,
like,
it made sense story wise why they're interfering, quote unquote, in
yeah,
this match.
yeah, because
Like,
they were injured beforehand.
uh, that's like when we start off,
Oh,
it's the Hardys have control.
yep.
But then Edge and Christian bring a ladder. They're knocking people out. Then the Dudleys came in here. They give Christian a 3D. I'm just writing off my notes because it's just literally spots
Mm-hmm.
after spots. Ed then
Oh
uses
yeah.
a chair to jump out and like take out Matt because he was climbing the ladder. He's like, "Yo, get down." Then they're all climbing the ladders. There's 3 ladders set up in the ring. They're all climbing, and they all eventually fall down. And in that one, I really want to say that Christian took the worst one because
Uh,
he got,
until later, yeah.
yes, until later, but at that one moment he gets sent out of the ring. Everybody else is in the ring. At least they fall
Yeah,
in the ring. He went
yeah,
out.
yeah. That one, I could see that one where it's like, okay, where he's like, okay, I misjudged that one.
Yep.
Oh boy, oh
Because
boy.
then, Spike Dudley comes. He does his Dudley dog
Dudley dog, yeah, Dudley dog.
on Edge. Then it says, "Hey Christian, there's a table out there. You want a table for two?" And takes himself and Christian out for a second.
Yeah,
Rhino comes in there. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know we could all come out there." So he gores Bubba and then gores Matt through a table.
and then you have Lita come out.
And holy shit. Did you hear that chair shot? This was back when you
Yep,
took unprotected headshots.
yep.
Holy
They didn't learn
shit.
their lesson from Mick Foley. They didn't learn their lesson.
I laugh because usually when you think of like unfortunate during this time, like when a woman gives a headshot, is usually like think. She went donk.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Like
ooh, some good stuff right there.
and that was a common now. They were faces like her and the heart. It was hard for me to write down notes because everything was happening. So I would go and touch and it's like, oh, we're into another spot. Holy shit!
Yeah, because then Lita
But there
takes
was one spot
3D.
in this match, which after two spots in this match, which are iconic.
Which one?
One is Jeff Hardy's, and actually both of them are Jeff Hardy's spots. God damn.
Is it the one
One
where
was the
he does?
Swanton Bomb
Mm-hmm.
through
That's
a
so.
table and Bubba Ray,
No, it wasn't
which
Bubba
he
Ray.
didn't actually hit all of it.
No, no, it
Remember,
wasn't
this is the
Bubba
one
Ray.
where he hits his
Uh,
head on the table.
it wasn't Bubba Ray. It was Spike Dudley and
And
Rhino.
also,
Because Rhino's table didn't break.
also you,
And then we also had. Wait, hold on. Let me see if he's back. I think I lost him for a second.
okay, so it wasn't that one, but because I thought it was WrestleMania 17 that happened at. Could have been an earlier TLC match. Where, anyway, so he does that, which is crazy because after he did it to Bubba one time,
Mm-hmm.
he hit his head on the table on his way down. Like he didn't hit it all the way. So it's like, huh, he did it again. Smart move, Jeff.
Well, on
And then
this
another
one,
one,
the Rhino's table, if you look at it, when he hits the Swanton Bomb on Spike and Rhino, Rhino's table does not break.
Oof.
Yeah, so Rhino kind of like slides off of it and lands on top of Spike. It's like a little interesting. But the way he sells it, the Swanton Bomb, is the exact same way he sold it yesterday.
Yeah. Like people saw the Swanton Bomb.
Well, Jeff
Like,
sells it. He definitely looked like, oh, that
yeah.
took a lot out of me.
Well, and then you have another spot with him in the same, and so it's like, so he's up on the ladder, getting the belt, like grabbing the belt.
Well, before
Um,
that, you have to start with what he attempted to do, which would have looked cool, but I'm not counting it against him. It's where he tried to walk the ladders,
oh yeah,
but he fails on the last one, but it's fine.
yeah. So he jumps and grabs a hold of the belt, and he's dangling there. And you see
Mm-hmm.
Edge in the corner climb up a ladder, and
Mm-hmm.
Edge just looks at him, and you're just like, no,
Yeah,
no.
Edge literally went, "You ready to die, Jeff?"
Yeah,
And
and he
kills him.
spears him off the top, and I'm just like
Yeah,
that's
he's
one of
dead.
the iconic WrestleMania spots of all time.
Yes. And
And
then, what?
that's one where it's like I've done it in WWE games before,
Mm-hmm.
where an opponent will be hanging on, dangling,
Mm-hmm.
and I will do a dive attack on him and be like, ah, "You're out." Like
The other one
it's
I
just
wish was in video games because it's in the same. It happens like right after where Bubba and Matt Hardy are climbing the ladders, and then Rhino pushes them off, and they fall through four tables. I wish that was in a wrestling game
oh god, yes,
because they
like
just die.
yeah, and it's just like oh. You talk about thumbtack spot. What about that spot? That had to hurt
I think you're going through four tables. I'm sure it's safe. Matt Hardy's still alive.
somehow.
Mm.
I don't know how he's still alive.
Well, then Rhino assists Christian, and Edge and Christian win the
Yep.
belts.
Which okay, yeah, this was a 5 out of 5 star match for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Same.
Like, like the action was pretty much seamless. Like there weren't a lot of botches that I really noticed. And so for all the spots they were taking, it was really clean. Like
Yeah, like I
nothing really
said,
went wrong.
this match was just spot after spot after spot after spot. Like AEW would have loved to have this kind of match
Yeah.
style.
One one thing is normally when you have a match like that, there are normally botches in it.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, not there weren't many, if at all. Like so, it's like,
The
oh,
only botch, and put this with quotation marks, I would say would probably be like the ladder spot with Jeff Hardy, where he tried to walk it, but that like I don't hold that against him because that's like tricky shit, and he made it through two. He
yeah,
couldn't make the last one, you know, and he
yeah.
just like fell down. He didn't
And
like fell down and injured himself.
plus, it led to a really good spot anyway.
I think that was supposed to be the original setup, you know, but they had to he quickly fixed it. All right, so we're going to
Um,
skip this next one, or we just going to talk about it.
I'll talk about it a little bit because honestly,
Did you
after
write notes for
watching
this one?
it,
I didn't. I said it was a thing.
I like
That was
I
my
remember
notes.
enough of it. Like I didn't write down who eliminated who, but I do remember a little bit of it. Um, and honestly, after the last 2 matches, this sort of match was needed to kind of be like, oh, calm down, because
Here's the only
the
thing,
last
though.
two,
The entrances last longer. It was kind of cool to see some of them,
I'm okay with that.
but it was just like, all right, this is another bathroom break or a slowdown.
Oh yeah, that's why I said is that it's a so what it is, it's the gimmick battle royal. So like you have like Sergeant Slaughter, Iron Sheik, Brother Love, which is awesome. Jim Cornette is in this
Mm-hmm.
match. You
Repo
have
Man.
I think yeah, Repo Man, Hillbilly Jim I wanna say.
Doink the Clown?
No. Hillbilly
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, he is. He is in the match. Doink
Oh
the
yeah.
Clown's in the
Yeah,
match.
so is the Goon, which is
Earthquake.
a hockey player. Yeah, Earthquake. Like, there's a lot of guys in the ring.
That I did
And
not know who they were. Because it was
Really?
before. Yeah, this was before my era. I did not watch this era
It's
of.
before my era, but I know who they were.
I knew who Doink the
Yeah.
Clown was. I only know Repo Man because of gifts. I knew Sergeant Slaughter. I knew, of course, Jim Cornette, Brother Love.
Well,
But the rest of them,
you didn't know
besides,
Iron Sheik?
no, I knew Iron Sheik and Volkov, but the rest of those people like
Oh, yeah,
Goon,
Nikolai Volkov was there.
the Bushwhackers,
Oh, yeah, the gobbledygooker. How can you forget him?
because that was not my era.
Yes. Well, Undertaker almost got stuck with that gimmick.
Oh my
Thank
god,
God.
imagine.
And well, they talked about having Undertaker come out of the egg, and it's like, thank God he didn't.
Yeah, he still doesn't
So
let that down. He,
on top of that, what made this match so great was who they had on commentary, because they didn't do JR and
no,
Paul Heyman. They did Bobby the Brain Heenan and Mean Gene Okerlund,
Mean
and
Gene was always good.
that was the icing on the cake for those two. Oh yeah, yeah, we said the Bushwhackers were in it.
Hmm.
So yeah, this match is honestly quite amazing.
So what you gave it?
Okay, so for what it was a 2 out of 5 star. It was a feel-good nostalgia match, and it was a good break in the action between the
Damn.
first and second halves of WrestleMania,
Hmm.
and it gives you a chance to breathe, go
I
to the
just gave it
bathroom,
a
do whatever.
star.
You cheap little shit.
I told you how it was a thing. I was not into it. I was like, ah, it's there. It's a Tuesday. It wasn't for me, but I respect it and understood why it was a thing.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, I loved it. Like, I couldn't give it higher than 2 star, but I give an Eddie Guerrero match
Hmm.
a 3 star. So
Oh my
I
god,
couldn't justify it.
if you actually gave that higher than that, I would have laughed at you. I've been like, listen, guys, the review's over. I can't do it with this man no more. Me and him quit. We quit. All right.
God, like I love. Well, and the thing is, Sergeant Slaughter loses to Iron Sheik,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, so Sergeant Slaughter is a babyface. He comes in behind Iron Sheik and puts him in the Cobra Clutch. It's like what the shit? Like he's a sore loser
Of course.
in this whole thing, and then he destroys. No, there wasn't a trophy, but he just like puts him in the Cobra Clutch, and it's like, huh, okay. Even though people cheered everyone. I mean, they cheered the guy who still wore Soviet Union colors, even though Soviet Union wasn't a thing anymore.
Oh yeah, oh, that was
Cool,
long dead.
cool.
All right,
Yeah,
so
Nikolai Volkov.
we go to the next match. We have
Oh,
Undertaker versus Triple H.
okay. I want to talk about this one a little bit.
You'll
Okay.
lead it off and let me know when you want me to come in.
So I'm gonna be talking about the promo for the most part, at least leading up to it. So this is
Okay.
around the time where I started watching wrestling. Like I remember some of the shit vividly.
Mm-hmm.
So like part of so the thing was Triple H is like, I have beaten everyone. I am the greatest. And Undertaker comes out on his motorcycle and is like, you haven't beat everyone. You haven't beat me yet. And you're in my yard. And the thing is that this time, Undertaker was wearing a shirt that said, cross me and I'll make you famous.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And and one of the things they were pushing is Undertaker's been in the WWE for about 10, going on 11 years.
Right.
And so he was talking about how they call his past 10 years the decade of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and yeah, he's not like the Dark Side Undertaker anymore, but he's still like cool. He's one you don't want to mess with.
He's
Like,
Biker Taker.
like he will kick your ass. And so what it is, so Triple H gets insulted by that and starts taking him out. And he's like, I'm famous for crippling people. And so you have like Undertaker. I remember this one because it's
Mm-hmm.
funny to go back and watch. Undertaker sitting outside on his motorcycle with like a lead pipe. No, not a lead pipe. More like a metal pipe, like a long metal pipe.
Yep.
and he's just sitting there waiting. And so Kane goes out there, and he pretty much asks, "Hey, who you waiting for? Or what are you doing out here?" "I'm waiting." "Waiting for who?" And he's like, "Triple A, show up. You want some company?" "No, I got it." And so he just again like, okay.
Well,
And so
wasn't this also was this the same night or was it a different night where Kane kidnaps Steph?
that was later, and that was a result of this.
Okay.
So Undertaker, so Triple H rolls up, and Undertaker breaks their windows on the limo. Like he is trying to get to Triple H.
Mhm.
And so after this, Undertaker is served with a restraining order, which bars. And this is the funniest shit ever. So Undertaker shows up at the ramp, or no, so Undertaker is told by William Regal that he has to stay 25 feet away from Stephanie.
Yes.
And so Stephanie and Triple H are in the ring with cops, quote unquote. And you see Stephanie miming 25 feet at Undertaker. Then
Mhm.
you just see Kane walk out with Undertaker, and Undertaker whispers over to him to go get Stephanie.
Yep.
So it's like, so Kane grabs Stephanie and they take her up to a high platform. Well, Kane does. Because Undertaker's still 25 feet away. He's obeying the law.
Yeah, in fact,
And
he was
so,
social distancing before it was even cool to social distance.
yeah. And so Kane has her in the gorilla press position and over like the balcony. And
Mhm.
William Regal's like, put her down, put her down. And Undertaker's just like, yeah, it would be nice to fall if he would put her down.
It's
And
like,
he's
all
like,
right, put her down. He said.
well, one of the thing was, he's like, what do you want? And he's like, I want a match with you. I want a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. I can't do that. Hey, Kane, did you hear that? Maybe you want to bring Stephanie down here so she could hear it too. And so Kane moves Stephanie, and you just hear her shriek. Like her acting on this is shit. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's not great. Like she knows she'll be fine.
Yeah, like she's not trying to get away from him. Like you don't see
Mhm.
him really gripping that hard.
Mm.
And so it's like, so eventually the match is made, and shortly after this, Undertaker goes out to meet Triple H, but he gets arrested, quote unquote, by cops, and
Mhm.
uh, Triple H beats the shit out of it and
I
took him
was
with a sledgehammer.
before you continue your thoughts, just I want to add something with it. You see how well you remember this promo? This is because they also put the promo in the
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania. I miss these types of promos with like a good long term story building to it, like several weeks over with segments in it. Because a lot of times now we have like the matches like, I hate you, I want this belt. Okay.
But like I said, part of the thing that made this memorable is this is when I started watching wrestling, and also I was a big time Kane fan at the time. So this whole thing, and so it's like you see him beat up Undertaker, bloody him while he's
Mm-hmm.
handcuffed. Which, good God, he loves beating up people when they're handcuffed. He
Oh
did it to
yeah.
Daniel Bryan too.
And he loves to use his best friend. Triple
He
H,
had the
his best.
sledgehammer.
Yep, Steve.
And and so later on, he came out like that following SmackDown. He came out and with like one of Undertaker's bikes, beat the shit out of it with a sledgehammer and pushed it off the stage. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, that's one thing you don't mess with the man's bike or his car. Like, you don't screw with that shit. And so this was right before WrestleMania that happened, and it's like, oh.
The go
So
home week.
anyway, so Triple H comes out first, and it's with Motorhead actually playing his theme song.
Did
Like,
you notice
cause
something during
hmm,
this part when Motorhead was singing?
hmm.
That I don't know if it was like he forgot some of the lyrics. He was also off key several times.
I know. Yeah. He was. Yeah, some of the live music performances are not great
Yeah,
for
and this
WrestleMania or
unfortunately was
WWE.
not one of them.
But the thing is, well, Triple H still like acknowledges him, like when he's in the ring, like he points
Hmm.
at him and stuff. Like, and this is one of Triple H's earlier times using that theme song. Like he hadn't had it that long,
And
as
do you
far as
also
I'm
notice
aware.
another thing about Triple H at this
Hmm.
WrestleMania?
Hmm.
How much of a less like thing he add to it besides the performance. Like in future ones, he'll have like a
Oh yeah.
motorcycle gang coming down with
Yeah.
him, or or something else crazy. Like this is one of the more
Yeah.
tame Triple H's interest at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. It's
lordy.
true. And then you have Undertaker come out, and I'm so happy they didn't do this. I thought they were going to edit his theme song to another one, but no, he came
Hmm.
down to Roland, which is amazing.
I
Like,
didn't think they would because they had Limp Bizkit's theme throughout the rest of the like
well,
pay per view. So I mean, it'd be really odd if
well,
they
I thought,
just do
well, I
one.
thought they, well, I thought they would because of two things. One,
Hmm.
there was an issue over rights or something, and also the lead singer for Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst,
Hmm.
was at a pay per view one time,
Hmm.
and he flipped off the camera. And
Nice.
so, like, yet again on Tombstone, The Legend of the Undertaker, which had some of his greatest matches, and this one was on it,
Hmm.
they just gave him a really weird, like, generic theme song. And it's like, God damn it. But this one, they actually kept it. I'm like, yes. I'm not gonna lie, I was singing along with it.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. I remember this
Yeah.
one. Uh,
And honestly, if he would have come out to that one for WrestleMania 36, I'd be like, or at least his You're Gonna Pay theme song from 2003, I would have been like,
hmm.
yes, give me this. Anyway,
What
so,
about the match?
okay, good. Okay, so first off, let me first get this out of the way first. It was a good
Hmm.
back and forth match. Like each side got in some really good offense. However,
Hmm.
there was a ref bump early on.
Oh my god, that was not a ref bump. That was a ref die.
Well, that's what I actually wrote this down. Ref was in a coma for 75% of the match.
Mike Chioda
Oh,
was
was Mike
dead.
Chioda? I thought it was
Yes.
okay, it was Chioda. I thought it might be,
Hmm.
I can't remember if it's him or Tim White.
No, it's
Um,
Mike. I only recognize him because he was in AEW last week.
I know who Mike Chioda is, so it's like I
Yeah,
know some of the older refs, like who they are.
this was
Uh,
back when they would say the ref's name.
yeah. Oh, they still do now. Now,
No, no, they don't. None. I spoke to Kat about this. They no longer do that because they no longer want the ref to be quote important, like with
even
the
though you have,
name.
even though you have Charles Robinson, who is one of the most senior refs they have now.
Yeah, but like you couldn't name another ref there. Like I could name a couple of refs in AEW versus there because they actually say the name. Now,
Anyway,
Mike
so this
Chioda
match,
dies.
this match turned into a no DQ match right after the wrap up. And I actually put this down in my comments. They should have just made it a no DQ match from the get go. They didn't have to kill the
Yeah.
ref. They didn't have to kill him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't remember what the bump was, whether it was a corner bump or what.
It was a corner. No. Yes. Yes and no. It was a corner bump where Triple H was attempting to do the pedigree, but Undertaker blocked it and then what's the maneuver when you toss him but from his
Oh, snake
legs?
eyes?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, oh no, from the
No, not
legs.
snake. From the legs where he like
Sling,
swings him and stuff. I forget what that actual move is called.
slingshot.
Slingshot, thank you. Slingshots him into the turnbuckle.
And
Uh
that's how he hit, and he killed
no.
the ref.
No,
Oh,
cuz that happened. Then the Undertaker does another move on Triple H, pins him. Michael slowly walks over, starts counting. Triple H hits out at 2. Undertaker then kills Mike with an elbow drop.
yeah.
And that's when the street fight starts.
Which is like they could have just gotten another rep out there. Like, come on,
Yeah,
guys.
story wise, it didn't make sense. Like, why was there not another rep? running out there at any point.
Well, not just that, but why couldn't they have just made a no DQ match?
Yeah, they might as well just would have made it a street fight. Would have made more sense.
Yeah, but regardless, it was a really good match. Um, like there was a lot of wrestling on the outside and in the crowd.
Oh yeah, there was a lot. Like Triple H took
I
a choke slam off of the sound
rap.
stage, or was
Yeah,
that
yeah,
scaffolding?
yeah. It was more soundstage. I can't remember what the official name is for it.
Yeah,
Like
and
Triple H took some big bumps, and so did
mhm.
Undertaker. Like
Well,
there was one
Undertaker
where
took the sledgehammer to the face.
that's what I was gonna say. That one, like towards the end,
Hmm.
Undertaker, they're back in the ring. Undertaker's going for the last ride, and Undertaker or Triple H just brings the hammer down. It's
Yep.
like you know that it was a protected shot, of course, but still, like seeing it because the angle gives you is you see Undertaker from the front, so you
Mm,
don't see his actual head when he lifts up
mm-hmm.
Triple H. So you just see the hammer come down. It's like, fuck, he killed him. He killed him.
Mind you, mind you, during all that, the referee's still down.
Yeah, exactly. And so he does. I think he does pin Undertaker, but he only gets 2 count. Like the ref
Correct.
comes to a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and so Undertaker.
Uh-oh. Did I lose Raz? Are you still there?
No.
Oh, here you are.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the
Yeah.
Undertaker?
So
What does he do?
I had to look something up real fast.
Well, essentially, from my notes, Triple H attempts to do a sling blade into like the turnbuckle. Undertaker counters, hits him with a couple of punches, and then does the last ride on him and wins.
Yeah, that's why I had to check was which move he used. Because I know the following year at WrestleMania, he finishes Flair off the tombstone. So that's why I had to check.
I think this was still the time he was using the last ride as his finisher.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's done that. He did that all throughout this era,
Mm-hmm.
but there were a few times where I'd pull out Tombstone as a finish. And so this one, I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5.
Wow, so much higher than me. 3.5.
My only complaint was the like it should have been no DQ, man. It's like come on,
Yeah,
but
the
it
rope.
won't be the. Oh, okay. Here's what I wrote. Okay, for
Mm-hmm.
why I gave it the rating. Should have been no DQ because there's no reason for the ref to be knocked out that long, and also no one helped the ref. They was
No,
like, no, we're good. We ain't
exactly.
getting in the middle of this shit.
Like, just make it a no DQ match. Y'all would have been fine.
It's like Mike, you're on your own, man.
Essentially. But
You're on
what's
your own.
interesting, because it's funny you say how this should have been a no DQ match. They did announce, like, just as Stone Cold and The Rock were making their way down the ring, that match would be a no DQ. By the
Let
way,
me add
real
one more
quick,
thing.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I also wrote that this wouldn't be the last match between them in 2001. There would still be 2 more pay-per-views of like similar stuff going on, at
Mm.
least.
I will say,
So
though, out of all the WrestleMania things, going back to The Undertaker and Triple H, that this was probably one of their weaker ones going forward.
no, they're no, because they faced each other 3 times. I would
Mm-hmm.
say the WrestleMania 27 match was weak. But that
Mm.
one was not great.
I remember it being iconic where Triple H kept yelling at The Undertaker, "Stay down, stay
Well,
down."
he did that at 28 too in the Hell in a Cell match.
No, that one's really good because of Shawn Michaels.
Okay, so anyway, okay, so do you remember the hype package for this one? Because
Yeah, they
I
put
definitely
it.
do. But do you? Because
Yeah,
I'll let you discuss the hype package for this one since I did the Undertaker
this
Triple H match.
promo was awesome. Because it involves the Limp Bizkit theme. It's essentially the Rock and the Undertaker, the Rock and Stone Cold constantly like facing each other in certain circumstances, just going back and forth. And you could correct me, but they're both faces at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'll say. First off, great song choice of
Mm-hmm.
My Way.
My way or the highway.
Um, Rock is a true traditional babyface in this match, like
Mm-hmm.
going into it, because Austin, you have him winning the Royal Rumble by using a steel chair on Kane. So I
Yes.
would say Kane is, or Austin is very much a tweener, and because Rock is so
No, I
beloved,
wouldn't say tweener.
that's
Because
the one reason.
I would say anti hero.
I would say more tweener because it's like he does some very heelish stuff throughout, and like The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
he is very much beloved in this one. He's the fan favorite in this one, I would say,
Mm.
except for the fact that it's in Texas.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna
going to
say he was getting booed like quite a bit.
but that's again because it's Texas. If this was, let's say, Flippin says in
Mm-hmm.
Miami or
Mm-hmm.
Florida in general,
Mm-hmm.
oh God, Rock would have been cheered like no other.
I think in New
Anyway,
York it would have been split.
yeah, it would have been. So yeah, if you want to explain more on it, I can toss in my 2 cents when you're done.
So we'll just start off with the match and then we'll go work our
Oh,
way
then
backwards. Or you go first with it.
okay. So the one thing I liked in the promo was you
Mm-hmm.
could see the determination in each person's face, like during it. Like you
Yeah,
could,
like Stone Cold selling the shit of like I want this at all costs.
yeah. And the Rock is like, I will give you every ounce of sweat, blood, and tears I have to keep my title.
By the
Which
way,
if
we should
you
add one more thing to that promo. This is their second
second,
time facing off,
second
right?
WrestleMania, second WrestleMania.
Second WrestleMania facing off,
Yeah,
and
first,
Stone Cold won
yeah,
the first at 16,
yeah, no, 15
15,
because
15.
WrestleMania 2000, yeah, because WrestleMania 2000, which was 16, it
Mm-hmm.
was Triple H, Rock, Mick Foley, Big Show.
Ah.
So anyway, and the other thing is, it does a good montage of like Rock versus Austin, like them
Mm-hmm.
each getting their licks in on the other one,
Yes.
and it's like, so you go into the match and it's like, huh, who's going to win this? Because back
Correct.
then they didn't have as many internet dirt sheets as they do today.
Yeah, because wasn't this the time? Because I think I'm trying to remember. Was it if it was not 2002 or 2000 maybe one ish, where he was filming one of the Mummy movies?
Yes, it was a couple months after this, I
Okay.
believe, when he was filming the Scorpion King, or no,
Uh,
the Mummy 2, where he
which
plays the
is the
Scorpion.
Scorpion King.
No, it's not. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, it was called that.
No, because Scorpion King, because it's called The Mummy Returns. Scorpion King is a standalone movie later on.
Oh, whatever. Same character.
So, and Mummy Returns, Rock plays Scorpion King and is the main back. Anyway,
Oh my god,
so
that
yeah, they.
CGI.
Hmm?
Sorry, we'll get into the discussion about the movie another day, but the
Oh,
match itself. You want to start it off, or
so
I?
sure. So Austin comes out to music, and this is the version of a song that has lyrics by Disturbed. Not
By
my
the way,
favorite version of the song by any means.
By the way, did not
No,
know that his song, his entrance had lyrics until this moment. I'll be honest, I did not
yeah,
remember that.
yeah, they quickly did away with that one. Um, but he gets a huge hometown pop, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't think it's his actual hometown, it's just his home state. Then you have good old Rock come out, and during this time that it's announced that it will be a no DQ match. Like
Yes,
it was just made no DQ.
and they don't know why or who.
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, like throughout this match, like I'll speak on it throughout this match.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that stays constant is the storytelling.
Yes.
So in the action, like it's very back and forth for the most part. Like it Like, and the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
the crowd is hot for every little thing each person
Mm-hmm.
does. Like, they start punching each other in the ring, and the crowd is electric. Like, I could
Yes.
imagine being there in the because it's the Astrodome, right? Is that what it's
Yes.
called? Okay. In the Astrodome, like being there, like this is back when they had flash photography. You didn't have cell phones, and so you just see millions of light bulbs or thousands of light bulbs going off, and it's like, oh, imagine being in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like this match, people were hot for,
Oh
and this
yeah.
is after essentially
This
a no
is
DQ match right before it.
this is their top two stars facing off each other.
Yeah.
This is what you could probably correct me if you want, but I personally feel is one of the things that WWE has been chasing since this time, since this
Oh
era.
yeah. Yeah, they wanted something like it. And the thing is, the closest they got to, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
are the two Undertaker Shawn Michael matches at 25 and 26.
Yes.
Like those are the two closest you've gotten to it.
But even then, the problem with that analogy, not saying that they're not great matches, is that you got two people from those eras. You never had two superstars of its current era.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the current era where people were hot. Well, okay, not counting the Royal Rumble where Edge returned, because that's a duh.
Mm-hmm. And
Also, if at WrestleMania 36 they would have done it live in front of an audience,
mm-hmm.
they would have been just as hot for the Edge Orton match. Like they would have been.
Who knows? That one has always get. But let's get back on track before we get
Yeah.
back to Edge. So it is a lot of going back and forth. Uh, though Stone Cold starts off the match hot, he's just hitting him. They're banging each other's heads on the announce table. At one point, Stone Cold gives The Rock a superplex from the top of the turnbuckle.
Yeah, which is unusual for him. Like
Yeah.
he's giving it his all when he
Mm-hmm.
busts out that move.
Yes. He's working him over, but then The Rock starts making a comeback. He's taking control, hitting his move sets, and then Stone Cold says, "Yo, let me tell you what time it is," and hits him with the ring bell. And now The Rock is bleeding.
Yep.
Um, he, Stone Cold is just all over him at this point. He keeps trying to get him down. Earl Hebner's like, "Please stop beating this man." He has a movie set next week. Um, but eventually, then The Rock takes the ring bell and say, "Yo, that was cool. What time you told me? Let me tell you what time is it too." So he hits him with the ring bell. The camera cuts away so that way Austin can do his bleeding, and then we see now they're both bleeding.
Yeah, but you gotta love when both people are bleeding.
Eventually, they're back outside. I forget at what point the announce table was broken, but the announce table was broken because
Yeah.
Stone Cold now
That's like,
takes a monitor and he's like, "Yo, Rock, you want to see yourself in the camera?" And then hits him with the monitor. Then Stone Cold throws him back in the ring. The Rock is a little dazed, and Stone Cold sets him up for the Stone Cold Stunner. But The Rock is like, "You're not, son. You need to take a sharpshooter from me," which he gives.
yeah.
Then, hmm,
Okay, people shit on the Rock's sharpshooter.
mm-hmm.
I always like the look of it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
I like
I'm raising my hand as the person who was like, "That's not the best looking sharpshooter."
Well, the thing is, I like how he has more elevation on it than you see from like he's not sitting down on the guy.
It's just there's too much space. Like there's no pressure on his legs.
Well, that's the thing. Sharpshooter is always more of a lower back submission anyway. I felt.
Nah, man. In the video
Dude,
games, it always
dude,
targets the legs.
yeah, I don't listen to the game.
But you know
Okay.
what? Stone Cold then hits The Rock with his sharpshooter. Like, I'll give you a
But
sharpshooter
Jane,
back.
Jane great looking.
And then
And also,
actually, hmm
one thing we need to mention is the ref,
hmm
because the ref is Earl Hebner for this
yes, I
one.
mentioned that earlier because the Stone Cold
Oh,
keeps getting in his face.
and the thing is, Earl Hebner almost always had the biggest matches. So if you saw him
Yes,
in the ring, you're like, oh, this is a big match. This is
this main
important.
event.
Yeah. Well, even if it wasn't a main event, you're like, okay, this match is important.
There you
They're
go.
paid.
That's a good word to use there. Important. Another thing that was actually brought up that because we mentioned this earlier that Stone Cold's giving it his all, he actually busts out his old finisher. Do you know what it's called? Because they said
Oh,
it and I don't remember.
the $1 million dream.
$1 million dream. Mm.
Yeah, it's essentially the Cobra Clutch,
And that's when he was the ring master? Question
the
mark?
Ring Master. Yeah,
Okay.
it's when he first debuted for WWE under Ted DiBiase.
Yep, and they actually mentioned that too, and they're like, yeah, and then he changed his gimmick,
Yeah,
and now we
smartest
get
move,
what was that?
smartest move he ever did.
Well, what it helped him, and this is we're going to slightly go off track, but to get back on track, was Jake the Roberts brought it up that he should do it,
Mhm.
and brought up the 316 thing.
Yep. One Austin Lair brought this up is that he noticed them editing his promos after he did the 316 one.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually went to Vince and he's like, if you give me the ball and let me have some freedom with my
Mm-hmm.
character, I will run the ball. I will I will put this company over like no other. Like,
Yes.
I will get you guys the viewership you want. You just have to trust me. And Vince did. And we got magic.
We'll go talk about that part later.
Yeah.
Let's finish this
Yeah,
up
yeah.
because this is a
Okay.
long
So,
review. It's an hour and a
yeah, this is a
half.
long match. Yeah, this is a long match. So do we
Uh,
want to get
where Vince
near the
comes
beginning
in.
now? Yep.
Yeah, we're pretty much there. Vince comes down. Um, the Rock hits his signature spine buster, goes into the people's
Yep.
elbow.
Um, yeah, the ref ain't down yet.
No, he's never down. He never goes down.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they did knock him down once.
No ref bump.
Okay.
But yeah, he hits the people's elbow. Uh, the ref starts counting, and then Vince pulls the Rock's
So,
leg,
yep.
and the Rock gives
Yeah.
him. Did you just cost me the match?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, and people are like, what the shit? Because he just helped Austin.
Yeah. So the Rock chases Vince. Vince runs in. What's it? How he eventually gets a chair and hits the Rock in the head with it. And you get a 2.9. It was really close, like
Yep.
almost count. Rock.
Well, the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
when he hit the Rock with it almost took his head off. I'm pretty sure. That was a hard hit.
Yes. But Rock counters and hits Stone Cold with the rock bottom. Gets only a 2 count. Austin gets up and hits Stone Cold with his stunner, which he sells the hell out of it. He always does. Gets another 2 count. Then The Rock gets as you mentioned earlier, gets an unprotected chair shot to the head.
Yep.
Still gets a 2 count. And then he eats several. I think he got like 15 to
Yeah.
16 different chair shots
Yeah.
to
At
kill the
least
man.
I believe it's at least 11 or 13 because in the WrestleMania in the WWE game,
Mm-hmm.
one of them when you do this match, you have to deliver each chair. Now it's
That's
not the same way because Austin drives the point of the chair into him,
yes.
like
And
the
then
top of the chair into, and it's like, oh,
and he finally wins it.
yep,
He's champion, and then he shakes the hand of the devil, as JR says.
yep. Yeah, or he just made a deal with the devil. Like he shares a beer with Vince.
Hmm.
Like JR is losing it, and a lot of fans are like, "What the?" Like these
Yeah.
two have been warring since 1998. Like very late 97 and through
Mm-hmm.
98, 99, 2000. Like they've been at each other's throat.
Yes.
Like, oh, like this
And
match, it's like, okay,
when
so
you
before we
look
get,
at hindsight, personally, like this moment,
it
I
wasn't
said,
great.
like what, the shaking the hands of the devil?
Yeah, like it wasn't the greatest for Stone Cold, but it's understandable.
You, like, if there was hindsight, like if someone, like, I'm pretty sure he mentioned this in a podcast, in his podcast. Like he said, if I had hindsight into it, I would have called an audible and gave you a stunner.
Yeah. Well, and that's how they could have saved it.
Exactly, and you could still do that. You can't trust Austin Angle like as a
Yeah,
heel, because he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep that
yeah,
belt. But
yeah,
at the same time, still protest that. Oh, Vince McMahon thought he was having Stone Cold in his pocket, but Stone Cold was smarter.
yeah. And don't ever put a rattlesnake in your pocket type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Now
I
I
just thought of this too. Vince McMahon does not sell the earlier beatdown by his son.
I know I saw that. I know that. But like I okay, so can we give it the rating then?
Yeah,
5 out of 5 for me.
5.75 because of the ending.
What?
But
4.7. Well, here's what
mm-hmm,
I said. It was great storytelling by both parties. The end,
mm-hmm,
like I said, the payoff didn't help anything,
mm-mm.
but it was a true swerve. Like no one saw that coming.
Yes, because as you mentioned,
And I
they've been
think,
beefing for like 5 years.
and the match itself played into Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 19.
And
It played
again,
into that.
I will also note another thing. In hindsight, like when you listen to the commentary, they keep hinting at an Austin heel turn.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't really. At this point, though, you're still too engrossed into the action
Mm-hmm.
to really think of commentary too much. You're just like,
Correct.
oh. So you don't really pick up on those clues that much. And it's like I said, the swerve is what really sent it over the edge. Like, yeah, the payoff wasn't great.
Mm-mm.
It didn't help anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But the swerve was, oh.
What
Like,
would you give the
it was
overall pay per view?
a solid A. Like, it was an A pay per view.
A minus. Just because there's two on this card that are just like, why? But overall, very enjoyable pay per
Oh,
view.
yeah.
It's one of the better pay per views that you can introduce a person to wrestling.
Oh, yeah, this one is. Okay, yes and no. Because, yeah, it's a good pay per view, but it's also a long one. Like, it's
Y-
almost 4 hours.
yes, but at the same time, it's kind of like you could show them like the best of the best, and they get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like, skip over a couple of the bad matches and then just show them the solid
Well,
shit.
luckily
Like,
the bad matches. This is nice. It's nice, sad that the bad matches are like less than 5 minutes.
well, like, the one I would definitely give them to watch, especially if they want to see more, like, and they're an amateur wrestler, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to see a good match with a lot of, like, amateur wrestling in it, Kurt
Mm-hmm.
Angle and Benoit.
That's
Like,
a
that
good
is a
one.
perfect combination of amateur wrestling and professional wrestling. Like, it gives you a best of both worlds, and honestly, as
Mm-hmm.
much as I love like No Holds Barred, Undertaker, and like those sorts of matches, okay,
TLC.
yeah, yeah, that's what I mean by No Holds Barred too. Like anything goes matches, I would still say match of the night is Kurt Angle and Benoit. That is my match of the night. Like, oh,
TLC 2 is match of the night for me. Followed up by really closely The Rock versus Stone Cold. Then Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, just slightly behind them.
I would, yeah, I would say Kurt Angle Benoit, the TLC match, and then Rock and Austin. But those last two are very, very, very close together because one did a great job at storytelling, and the other one just has a hard hitting action.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like the triple threat TLC match, if you know the three tag teams, you know what you're getting. You know what type of match to look forward to. Whereas the Benoit and Angle match, okay, it was like okay, what's our? I think this is their first time really working together. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you see what they do, and it's like, oh, this is some good shit. Like I said, this is the match where you take someone who thinks, oh, wrestling's fake. I'm an amateur wrestler. The wrestling I do is real, and you show them this match, and be like, yeah, it's scripted, but look at how well it looks.
So now that we got this over and done with, what is the next pay-per-view that you want to look into? And I'll choose the
Okay,
year
no,
if they
it's
have
the
it.
other way around.
Did
No, it's the other way around.
Was it? All right. So I
Yeah,
choose the pay-per-view, you choose the year?
yeah, because I said WrestleMania last time, and you're like
Oh.
17. But
All right. So well, next
yeah,
month is Hell in a Cell.
so you want to go Hell in a Cell?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing I went to WWE Network just to see what years there were for. That way, when you give me a, oh god, it goes all the way back to 2009. Oh
2009.
yeah, like oh, let me look through these for. Okay, we're not doing 2015 because I don't like who won that one. Let's see.
2015. Why does that year sound important? Was that the year that he
Oh,
lost?
okay, okay. I have to go this. Oh wait, no, not that one. Because that's a bad year for him too. God damn it. Okay, let's go because it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Because it's a good night for the one who helped come up with the goddamn thing. Let's go to 2009.
Okay.
Oh my. Well, guess how long that pay per view is gonna be?
Well,
3 hours.
is it?
Yes. And the well, I don't know if it's main event, but one of the
Mm-hmm.
matches is CM Punk versus Undertaker for the World Heavyweight Championship.
2009. That was, I actually do know that one. Is that Spirit Squad versus DX?
No, Legacy. Wait, are you
Like
done
this?
recording?
No. But
Okay.
okay. Alright. So next time you watch us, it'll be Hell in a Cell 2009. Wish us luck. Bye bye.